Okay, so this video is for after you have done all of the registration marks and lined everything up and you're ready to start your self-portrait. You are going to use a 2H pencil for a very, very long time on this picture. I, of course, am using my 2B pencil because I need you to see it over the camera. So we're gonna get started here with our face shape, and we have the chin and kind of the top of the head to work with here. We also have our pencil to use as a measuring device, and we're going to start this with kind of a basic face shape. Now remember, even though it's you and you feel like, oh my gosh, I should really get this perfect, it is something that as long as you're drawing lightly, you are absolutely going to be able to change and adjust and make it much more perfect as you draw. Okay, so if you, like I made this really lumpy over here, but really it's nice and straight. Okay, and I can change that later because I've drawn lightly. So I'm just gonna continue and know that I'll need to fix that eventually, but for right now, it really doesn't matter. In this, we're going to eventually get some kind of hair going on, and she has a part that goes like this and kind of comes down and around. The hair's real hard to see because these were black backgrounds that I used to use before I decided it used way too much printer ink and started doing them on white. And I couldn't see my dark-haired students' hair, right? But we're gonna do a basic face shape, okay? And I'm gonna start pushing a little bit harder now so that you can see it better, but you will absolutely not push hard with yours. We're gonna get started with a little bit of a neck here, and her neck is, she's a thin person, so her neck is not quite as wide as her head. Also, she's smiling. When you smile, your jaw widens out and it changes the neck proportions that we talked about. But despite the fact that she is a thin person, her shoulders will still go off the paper, and so will yours. So get them to go off the paper. If you want to, you can go over here and line up the picture just like we had it before and use that to draw a little edge for where the shoulders should go. And that helps you kind of aim for, right, gives you something to aim for. And we can do the same thing over here on the other side. And I'm not gonna fold that one because, ooh, you know what? Let me retract that statement because she's down here, and so her shoulder would have gone off this way. But what we can do is this. And her shoulders would probably do something like this because of where they are in the picture. So you'll have to look at yours. I know some of your pictures are cropped more than this, but we wanted to make sure we got her necklace in here. So this is actually more accurate right there, right? And again, we can look at it, but your shoulders are going to be quite wide in the picture. Now, let's go ahead and get going here. She's got, I can't see it over there because it's dark, but I'm sure it's about like that. Now we have our registration marks that tell us where our line of symmetry will be. If you need to, you can draw that line. We see it pretty strongly in our photograph, so it's not exactly necessary. But what we are gonna do is to start working on our drawing just a little bit at a time. And we'll go over here, and this is our eye line, and this should be about the middle of the eye where the caruncles are. And I'm going to start by checking that measurement, lining it up with my pencil and making sure, oh look, it's not exactly right. And adjusting the eye distance. Do you see what I did? I went over here to measure with my pencil, lining up the end of my pencil with the caruncle and putting my thumbnail where it goes on the other side, and then I was making new registration marks for the width of the eye because it didn't turn out exactly how I'd planned in the practice. or when I had it folded to do the registration. And sometimes it doesn't, guys. Remember, always, every time when you're drawing, the most important tool to get your drawings to look correct is your brain. We draw, yes, physically with our hands, but really it's mentally with your mind. So you need to make sure that as you're drawing, you're thinking about what you're drawing, you're looking at what you're drawing, you're talking to yourself about what you're drawing and making sure that you are honest and saying, okay, is this the correct eye shape? Now, I've made my eye shape. I'm not 100% happy with my eye shape, but I know that facial proportions are all based on other facial proportions. So in order to correct the eye shape, to make it closer to her eye shape, I have to draw the nose because I need to see where it's going to line up with the nose. And I need to draw parts of the mouth. And in order to get everything accurate, I have to have the whole face kind of in there, drawn a little bit at a time. So I've got an eye shape. I'm relatively happy with it. So now I'm going to move on to the nose. And with the nose, I start with the middle line that I would keep really, really light because she doesn't have a dark line in the middle of her nose. And then you see how the nostrils go up from here and over. And again, this is a shape that I would need to adjust, but for right now, it's fine. And because her face is in shadow, this side of her nose looks a little bit different than that side of the nose. It's not that her nose wasn't symmetrical. It was. It just looks a little bit different. So this is really all the line I can see on her particular nose. And so now I'm going to move on to drawing the mouth. And I can see that the corners of her mouth here are going to line up with the outsides of her iris over here on this side, and then over here on this side, it's going to line up with a little space in between the two. Okay, so we're drawing the middle line and getting it to line up. It's really pretty straight, and then it kind of curves up over here. And then on the other side, it's the same, but it curves down a little bit over here. Now, this is just because of the shadow. Her mouth didn't do that, but I need to follow these lines so that it will look accurate. Now, I'm also going to adjust the Cupid's bow here a little bit, and then remember how we talked about not doing a harsh outline for the lips, but just letting a little light path for where the value is going to go. And then we'll go down and do the same kind of thing on the bottom, and the same kind of thing on the bottom like that. All right, so now I feel like I have something to kind of work with as far as getting my proportions to be a little bit more accurate. If you feel like you've got it from here, you're okay to stop the video and go ahead and work independently. If you need more instruction, you can always come back. This is at 8:42, and you can come back and I will continue to add details. So this is a good break point. All right, so here we go. Now we're going to go in and start adjusting some of the details on the face. I'm going to add in her ears, which are slightly above her nose line. And we can only see this little part of her ear, and again, I'll probably adjust the face a little bit, but I want that here so that I can compare my size relationships. Now that I have all the facial features laid out, I'm going to erase, the registration marks because I don't need them anymore. Okay, you make sure that you erase those lines that you made for the width of the eyes. Don't leave them on there. That makes it look really weird. And we'll erase on the inside here, like that and like that. That's pretty good. I left the eyebrow one because I haven't done the eyebrows yet, and I'm not going to do them for a little while, so I'm just going to leave them right there. And what we're going to do, if you want your stuff to get closer, you can go like this, right? And then that's right next to your eye. And you can use it in a more detailed way. Okay, just like that. Right, and then now I'm going to go in and try to adjust this shape a little. Just like that. And in here, I need to get a little close. Now for this, some of you will like using a kneaded eraser, and some of you will not be able to because you won't be able to stop massaging it. So this is kneaded rubber, and when you fold it, it cleans itself, so it's a self-cleaning eraser. We use it for this project because you can mold it to get into teeny tiny little itty bitty spots. So I will make this into a tiny little point, and then I can use it to adjust my line rather than drawing and redrawing and making sure that it's perfect. I can just pick up some of this extra hairy detail with my kneaded eraser. And then I'm going to go in and get my eye shape adjusted a little bit so that it's a little closer. Okay, and I like that a little better. Now I'm going to head over here and check on the other one. I want to make sure before I do this, that one is a little bit higher than the other one, so I need to, well, her face is a little tilted. Make it go down a little. When I'm drawing to make things accurate, I make sure that not only is my reference picture right next to whatever I'm drawing, but I will even go so far as to point at whatever it is that I'm trying to draw. Like right now, let me zoom out a little bit. I'm drawing this, so my finger is pointed at it. My finger is pointed at it because that saves my brain time. It doesn't have to look around for what it was doing. It just draws. Okay, it looks right at it, and then it looks right back, and it keeps me from working on little bits all over the place and forgetting what's going on. All right, so now we have that. Now I feel reasonably happy with the eye shape. I am going to go in and draw her eyelid. Okay, right, just like that. And then the other one I can't see except for in a couple of areas. So I'm going to, I can see this part of it. I'm going to assume that this part looks just like the other side, and then that this part does too. And we'll get some real dark value over there so that it can be accurate. Okay, now let's take a look at her eyes. Okay, they're feeling okay. Now I'm going to start drawing the irises. And with her picture, I can see that the irises are covered a little at the top, right? So they're covered a little at the top and just a tiny bit at the bottom. And that's really common for when you have a picture of somebody that you'll be able to see most of the circle. So let's get the irises worked on. And remember, they're going to be perfect circles, and you can go over them with a circle template when you're ready to be finished, but not at the beginning stages, because you'll make too dark of a line. And we're going to go over here and do the other one and get them pretty close like this, and then we'll get the pupil, which is about 1/3 the size of the iris and is right in the center. And just like that. Okay, so that's nice drawing. We've got these drawings, and then we're going to tidy up the face shape. And then after that, you're going to be ready for value. So we have this, the chin, and the chin I can see needs to have the jaw go up, and then it will curve here. That's pretty close. And then the face goes out just a tiny bit, but then she goes way back in and is covered by the hair. Okay, now let's go do the other side, and then I'll make a separate video if I have time to get the hair situated. Okay, at this point you should look at the drawing from a distance and see if all of your proportions line up. We should draw in probably our shirt, right? The shirt line and the shirt detail as well.